So guys, assuming that you have already saved your little cartoon character from School Concept onto your computer, and that you are done with your graph and that you're ready to start doing your little character, that's where we're going to start. So this is Sumo Paint. Most of you have seen it before. It looks just like Photoshop, right? I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview and show you a few things that you can do with Sumo Paint that you can do to make your character work for your virtual project. So everything's pretty much the same. You have all your menu options up here, all your tools over here. You have your little layer menu over here, and all of your color options as usual. So things are pretty much the same as Photoshop, just a couple things a little bit different. So let's just get right into it. The first thing you want to do is open up your cartoon character. So you're going to want to go to File, and then Open. And you see you have several different open options. You're going to want to go to Open from My Computer, because that's where you should have saved it. And then I'm going to open the female one just to be nice and fair. And so that means you can probably close this other canvas that pops up. You don't need that one. And okay, so here's our little person. And since we've all used Photoshop by now, we should know that how to use a paint bucket and a paintbrush. There's your paintbrush. There's your paint bucket. You should know how to use your text tool to write if you need to write. You can draw lines and all these different kinds of shapes. And there's all sorts of other fun stuff you can play with, but let's just keep it basic right now. So some of the things that you're going to be doing are hair color. So let's pick a hair color. Let's say she's going to have crazy dark green hair. No, let's do blue. Yeah, blue hair. Because that's a typical Kihei Charter student, right? Blue hair. And then we're going to paint bucket. Yes, okay, you know that. And that's going to be pretty much how you're going to add color, right? You're going to pick your color, and then you're going to paint bucket your color in. Now the next thing would be adding images to this. This is going to be the most complicated part, so let's go into that. I think you guys all know how to paint and add backgrounds and things. I sincerely hope we do. Okay. So this is how you add an image. You can do it one of two ways. You can do it the way that you did this image, by saving it to your computer and going to File, Open from My Computer. Or there's an even easier way, since you're doing this all web-based. You can go find the picture on Google that you want. I know one of the categories is favorite book. Something tells me that this one might win out. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. The easiest way to do this is to right-click on the image once you find it. Go to Copy Image URL or something like that. Depending on what kind of computer you're using, you should see something about copying the URL. If that doesn't work, you're going to click over here to full-size image and copy the URL from here. Either way, there you go. So go back to Sumo Paint and go to File and look, Open from URL. See the connection here? Then you want to paste your URL in. Go to Open. Now, since this is web-based, if your picture is too big, you'll get an error. So make sure you pick a picture that isn't too big. Okay. Now, copying things over is a little bit different. In Photoshop, you would use your Move tool to drag it over, right? But you can't do that on here. What you need to do is actually right-click on your image, and you want to... I'm sorry, you don't want to right-click. You want to do your selection tool. So if it's usually you're going to have a square image. It's this one, or you can use your magic wand if that works, but I would just stick with this guy. And then you just draw a selection around the part that you want. Try to get it from the edge, more or less. So you draw a selection, and then you right-click, and you go to Copy Selection. Then you go back to your cartoon character, and you right-click, and you go to Paste Selection. And then there it is. Now, the good old Control T on your keyboard will give you the option to shrink it or blow it up. and move it around. So she's probably going to be, if her favorite book is Twilight, there it is. Now remember, you hit enter when you're done transforming or when you're done changing the size. And that is how you add a picture. And like I said, the other way that you can add a picture is if you had, let's say I'd saved this Twilight image on my computer and then I went to File, Open from my computer, then you can get it from there. So that's one of two ways. You can just find it on Google, copy the URL, and put it into Open from URL, or you can go to Open from my computer. Other than that, you're mostly going to be adding color and you're going to be adding images. If you should want to change anything about the character, that's fine, but I would keep it simple. But you can always paint on them if you want to. Like, all your options are up here for paint. For paint bucket, they're all up at the top. Maybe you want to change something to do with her clothes, like I'm going to draw a little shape of a star. Maybe her shirt, we want a star on it. Okay, remember always that you want to be selected on the layer that you want to work on. So like you saw, I just drew that star and I drew it on the book layer, and then I try to move it and it moved both. We don't want that. So I'm going to make a new layer. This is your new layer icon right here. Let me draw another shape. Let's put some funky weird shape on her. That's weird. There, and then you can see over here that I drew that on its own layer. Now I can move that one around to where I want that. Maybe she has some weird tattoos on her face, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to get rid of that. So that's that, and then the other thing that you want to do to turn this in is File. So this is once you're done with your character and you have all the images added that you want and all the everything colored and reshaped and resized and whatever. Then you go to File and you go to Save to My Computer. You want to save this as not a Sumo, not a PNG. You want to save it as a JPEG. Please make sure when you save it that you save it with your name, just like the way we always save stuff for school. And then virtual character, and then the date, which is tomorrow is going to be the 3rd. And you click save, and then it'll ask you where you want to save it. Save it somewhere that you can find it. And then that one, the one that you saved in your computer, will be the one that you're going to want to email to Miss Temple. Okay, so you're going to attach this into an email and send that to her. And that should be the end of your virtual work for Friday, September the 3rd. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.